Hey guys, it's Vlad with the Verge, and I'm joined today by Nokia CEO Stephen Elop. So thank you for joining us,
My
sir.
pleasure.
You have had a whole heap of announcements to make today. Even though it's CES, you had some major announcements to make as well. You're opening up your portfolio. You're adding new Asha phones, Symbian phones, a very significant new Symbian phone, and a Windows phone. So tell us about that. What is the highlight for you? What is like major?
I think the biggest highlight for me is that in 1 year since we launched our new strategy, we're showing the 4th Lumia device, which is the 4th device with Windows Phone. We showed the 5th, 6th, and 7th Asha devices, and we showed some brilliant innovation in the area of photography with the Nokia 808, a Symbian device. So the highlight for me is not any particular child, if you like, it's the whole family. It's the fact that we've accomplished so much over the last year.
I've heard that from other Nokia executives, that you love all your children. They're very different, but you love them all. And that's another thing. I had questions prepared, and my first question was, it's been pretty much exactly 1 year since you announced your transition to Windows Phone.
Yes.
And I thought that was a clever question, and then your entire presentation was all about the 1 year.
Yes.
So it's a big milestone for you guys.
Yes, it is.
And I mean, you've said that you've made developments, you've pushed forward, and you're working to execute a new strategy. But I want to ask you about the downside. Have there been any setbacks, any regrets where things haven't gone as well as you wished?
Well, I think during the course of the year, it's been very, very difficult, because changing the strategy is not just about saying it's this ecosystem versus that operating system or whatever. It affects people. We've had to restructure the company, which means some people have lost their jobs. We've had to change factory configurations, again affecting people and communities. We are still in the heart of the transition. We have new products, new excitement, all of that is happening, but we're still going through the transition and restructuring of the company. So it's a hard time, but it's also an exciting time.
Sure, I understand. Well, let's talk about the variety of phones that you have at the moment, because like you say, you have 7 Asha phones, given a lot of diversity for developing and emerging markets.
Yes.
And you have the 4 Windows phones, and you're still keeping Symbian going, evidently, with the 808. Would that be your long-term strategy, where you still keep a whole bunch of devices for all sorts of price points and tastes and things like that?
Yeah, I think generally we have a strategy to cover the broad range of price points, which is one dimension. There's another dimension related to particular tastes. For example, there are some opportunities where people want to specialize in photography and things like that. So like the 808, we have a specific example of a product for that. We also have to think about the different platforms that may be required. The Windows Phone platform is great as a smartphone platform, but obviously at very, very low price points, you need something different, and that's where we're evolving our Series 40 effort with the Asha product line. So you look at these different things and say, yes, there's a portfolio of products that make sense. At the same time, you have to balance it. You don't want phone after phone after phone. You want an appropriate number of devices that you can use as broadly as possible, all around the world.
And you mentioned that with the Lumia and with the Windows Phone strategy. Well, you just introduced Lumia 610, which is your most affordable Windows Phone yet. Would that maybe cut away the need for things like future Symbian devices? Kind of obvious, but would it also cut into the development of Asha? Would you keep bringing Windows Phone down to lower price points and focus on Windows Phone? So
our intent is to continue to bring Windows Phone down in price. It can still come down quite a bit, we believe, over time. But that being said, there's a line, if you like, below which something like Windows Phone or other smartphone platforms can't easily go without there being a significant architectural change. Because when you get to the very lowest price points, you're short on memory, you're short on processor capacity, you may not have a GPU and so forth. And so at those very low price points, something else has to happen there. And today for Nokia, that's our Series 40 line. So we anticipate that there's a platform covering the smartphone price points, and then something beneath that for the very lowest price points as we go forward.
Where would you say that line is? Because it's €189 for the Lumia 610. You say it can go lower, less than €100 perhaps?
It could be. A lot depends on how chipsets, memory costs, and things evolve. I don't think it's a firm line. And in fact, I would think there's probably even a little bit of overlap between the high end of the low end and the low end of the high end, if you like. There'll be some overlap as well.
Isn't that just the middle end?
That's somewhere in the middle.
It's the mid-range.
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually, I think when people say mid-range, they're thinking higher in price point. I'm talking, very low down in the price points where these things may overlap.
Sure. Well, sticking with Windows Phone, we've had discussions with your camera guys, with your design guys, and they've told us that specifically with the 808 and the PureView technology, the brand new 41 megapixel, all that craziness, everyone's really excited about it. They told us it was a 5-year project. It took a very long time to develop.
Yes.
We spoke to Stefan Pannenbecker. He said the design of the Nokia N9 took 2 years from the first model until it came to market. These are long development times. Do you think they match up to the current fast pace of the mobile market?
So I think there are different technologies that, by definition, they take a while to develop. The fact that the photographic technology in PureView took 5 years doesn't mean we do something every 5 years. What we've done is disrupted and redefined the whole photography industry on mobile phones. And that's something that we will now iterate on and refine, and you'll see rapid evolution of other devices on other platforms that take advantage of that. I think the pace of change, as we've demonstrated, we introduced the 800 and the 710 in October, the 900 in January, the 610 in February. I mean, it's clear that we've changed the clock speed of Nokia, and we intend to continue to do that.
And when you say other devices and other platforms for PureView, are we safe to assume Windows Phone is among them?
We've said that Windows Phone is going to have optics and photography as a critical differentiator for it as well. Yeah. So we haven't made any specific product announcements, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be pretty exciting.
And when you say accelerating the pace, there is a noticeable lag in terms of your introduction of brand new things. Again, like the N9 design first, and then it comes to the Lumia 800, and PureView coming out on Symbian first, which admittedly has raised a few eyebrows, and then potentially coming to Windows Phone. I imagine that's a priority for you. You want to shorten that gap and introduce new technologies and innovations on Windows Phone first, right?
Yeah, I mean, we want to very quickly get to the point where we're rapidly iterating on the Lumia products, bringing innovation there very quickly. This PureView technology had been developed for years, initially on the Symbian platform, and we felt it was such a big change in that industry for photography that we needed to get it into the market, because as we get it into the market, we're going to rapidly learn and iterate from all of the people who are beginning to use this technology. We want to get that learning, improve the product, and continue to take it forward.
And I was also wondering, in your opinion, with regard to Windows Phone, it hasn't taken off spectacularly rapidly. It's growing, but it hasn't taken off spectacularly rapidly. So what would you say is the next step that Windows Phone really needs to take to become, to engage users more and to become more popular?
I think, first of all, it is only now that the first real Windows phones are in market, and those are the Lumia products from Nokia.
And they're Nokia's.
Yes, and because we've done our best work for Windows Phone. We've taken our best design, our best engineering, put it together with the Windows Phone software and delivered these products. So what needs to happen now is we need to make sure that from an advertising and marketing perspective, we're getting the message out, that in stores all over the world, when you walk into a store, that the retail salespeople are well trained on how to present Windows Phone and Lumia, how to differentiate it from the competitors and so forth. So we have a lot of that type of execution work to do day to day, and that will help. But also, what you should expect to see is successive waves of new versions of Windows Phone, of new products from Nokia that really accelerate the pace of innovation, because we're really focused on driving that. So there's a lot more that will just continue to build. And of course, we're just in the early stages of getting the product into various countries around the world. We have many countries to go with many products. So there's a lot of build still ahead with the very products we have in the market today.
And how are you going to contribute to this? Because when you made the announcement at first with Steve Ballmer, you said that you had the freedom to customize everything, including the software. But at the moment, if you take just the software and you exclude the Nokia exclusive applications, which matter, but the siloed applications, the Windows Phone software and the interface isn't Nokia specific, it's Windows Phone. So can you tell us about how are you going to customize anything
So
there?
first of all, Windows Phone is a platform, and we have a unique position in the development of that allows us to add to it, make changes, or whatever. Yeah. You mentioned the Nokia-specific applications that we've done. Those are actually good examples of where we've added value to the Lumia product, where you get free navigation, free music, the e-reading application, all of these things included that differentiate our product. So we think that's a good first step. But what is important to remember is we joined the Windows Phone ecosystem when the current version of software was already essentially done. So our level of engineering involvement was not high in that first round, but it will increase as we go forward, so there's more opportunity for us to do those differentiated elements. That being said, that doesn't mean we should or would customize everything. Because if you take, for example, the base user interface, what's called the Metro user interface, the live tiles that are actively showing you information, we could do something quite different than that. But if we went in a different direction with that, then what Windows Phone stood for, and all of the marketing that will accrue to it, both from Windows Phone and for Big Windows, which is adopting the same user interface, we would not get the benefit of that.
Sure.
So there's certain things, yeah, we could change, but why would we? I mean, that's sort of the essence
you like it
of
too much. You're happy with it.
I love it, and customers who use it love it as well. And so why not build on that, but then introduce the differentiation around it? So for example, I would rather differentiate with, say, something like photography or location-based services or other things like that than changing the UI so it looks different than what's being marketed broadly for Windows Phone.
Okay. Well, you brought it up, big Windows. And you've also said to us previously that you see a big potential in tablets. Can you give us an update? The potential is still big, but where is Nokia with respect to that?
So we're not making any announcements today about tablets or what we're doing in that space. What I will highlight is that I think Microsoft has clearly stated now how the user interface that's on the Lumia devices that comes with Windows Phone is becoming the user interface across the Microsoft properties. PCs, tablets, Xbox to a certain extent, as well as Windows Phone. So the amount of value associated with that user experience, the amount of familiarity that will develop as hundreds of millions of PCs and tablets go into the marketplace is something that's very advantageous. It creates new business opportunities for many companies, certainly including Nokia as well.
So presumably you want to see Nokia services, Nokia software all across that Microsoft ecosystem, including the Xbox, including the desktop.
Yeah, so for example, our location-based services, that is something that Microsoft is taking advantage of. So as you go into a Big Maps or other of their properties, you should expect to see Nokia delivered software and services supporting them because we're taking the lead on the location-based services. So that's a good example of something we're contributing that they leverage into other properties.
So let me actually pull you back on the topic of making consumers aware about Windows Phone. Microsoft has started to push with a more aggressive new marketing strategy. It's called Smoke by Windows Phone. They're competing directly with Android. You're smiling, you're happy with that? Do you like that strategy?
It delivers a very powerful message. And the powerful message is, for all anyone tells you, how about you just try and get a Facebook photo posted on someone's wall. Just go ahead and try that.
Yeah.
And you put two people, one with an Android device, one with a Windows Phone, and let's see who gets the job done faster. Let's see who can get their news feeds looked at faster, those types of things. And what it quickly shows, this is why it's called smoked by Windows Phone, it shows that the quality of the user experience is such that those things that you're trying to do regularly, you can accomplish a lot faster and with more fidelity using Windows Phone.
And just to wrap up, a quick question. We're here at MWC in Barcelona. All of your competition is bringing out a heap of new phones as well. Can you give us your assessment, your thoughts about what the other guys are doing?
It's hard to comment on everything the competition is saying or doing. What I will say is that 1 year later, after making our big decisions about strategy, I am more confident than ever that we made the right decisions. You see just over your shoulder the crowd of people in the Nokia booth looking at the new products, whether it's Asha in the lower price tiers, the Lumia product ranges, the PureView. People are seeing that Nokia is really executing well, and they're very, very interested in what we're doing. And to the extent that that represents the ultimate consumer opportunity, I'm very pleased.
Fantastic. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.